Y'all country much? Well, what have we here? See that starter in there? Not quite, do you? Alright. That's the starter right there I'm touching. We're going to see how it cranks. To drag a little bit. It's a sweet little machine. But I got out and I got a mind to put a fresh battery on it and move that battery to my little Izeki tractor, because this one done crapped out on me. And you got to turn one in for a core anyway. Since that one still cranks that machine, it probably generally crank this one because it's a lot smaller motor. It should have more power. There's a couple of pins in here. Right there. Now when you raise the boom, that's what keeps it from crashing down on you and cutting you into two pieces. And as it is, the world couldn't deal with two of me. That's the safety. None of this can come back down there. And I want that up out of my way. So my working location's right there. anytime you're working on any electrical on your equipment, you remove the battery so you can't inadvertently touch something to another location, ground it out, cause at the very least a spark. At the very worst, it could cause even a fire. I saw a debate on you're gonna do the positive first or the negative first, and then you put them back together, which one first? Well, if I try to take the positive off and I touch the chassis, bam, I get a spark and could burn my wrench. The battery could explode. But if I take the ground off, about the worst that could happen is I ground it out to a ground it's already got. And yes, I've got a wire holding the battery in. New Holland is basically a Ford. It speaks for itself at that point. Andrew's got a pair made just for that. I just have to make do. Now, we'll get the positive off. I still need a battery for a tractor, and this needs a new one, so we're going to go that route. Even though the crud on this is probably why it's not starting fast. Did you see what that did? It pushed that apart. Wow. So I've had this machine at least 5 years. That may be the original starter. Maybe. So it doesn't bother me to think the idea I have to change it at this point. To me, it's a simple maintenance. I've got an idea what's wrong with it, but that is a different make of starter than what I'm studying. So when I get it down on the bench, I'll see if that's what it is. I can show you something that I learned many years ago. Grounding strap will have to go back. That ensures that you get the best crank. Over here where I can see it. That appears to be the bottom bolt. Had to use it manually. There. Okay. Hopefully the starter's loose now. It certainly is. That's the battery cable. And that's going to be a kick wire. I'm looking at it. There's also some outfeeds. These two outfeed into the system. So the first place the power goes is to the starter. When I first got this machine, that wire come unplugged. That's the wire that makes the starter work. If it come unplugged, I called the local dealership, was actually in another state, and the guy told me on the phone, I really shouldn't tell you this, go back there and check, make sure that wire's on there, and that was the fix. No, I told him it was like an hour and a half drive from my location to him, so he just being kind-hearted. Brother, if you out there, I appreciate it. Very kind of you. Alright, so that's half, give or take. Come on now. Very difficult to work in that angle. I really don't know if I can get a better angle on it. Socket time. Okay, for our reference, that's where cabling goes on the battery. Let's just put it out of the way. That one has to go back on the starter along with that white one, which tells it to start the motor. And then just enough room to get around. That's the one I just removed. This would-be replacement. That one says rebuilt, so it has been changed before. Okay. So that looks primarily the same. Plug in here, bolt there. That's where my big wires go. All that looks primarily the same. Look at this back cover on somewhat different. Anyway, it's got this the little weeper things. These are missing. There was one there, and this one would have been right there. Now this side, all that looks the same. Well, I'm going to say we've got a win. That looks like the proper piece to go on there. I don't like going this far until I've got the replacement part in my hand. Okay. So I did take a slight chance. Well, this has been in the house. It's here. But now I've compared it and I know it's the right one. You watch me open the box. Now just put everything back like we found it. With the new piece. Okay. I probably need to slip it back down in there. The wires might hinder me if I don't. Okay, oops. One little bar. There we go. Now then, these. And then we got this. I'm not thinking that stud sticks out as much. Let's see if we get her started. That might be a difference. why am I changing the starter? Occasionally, you get in to crank the machine, and it would only click. It wouldn't make contact with the starter motor. It would only click the Bendix in, engage the gear. That mechanism is here. This is the motor, what does the spinema thing. Inkling suspicion this is like old Toyotas I worked on when I had this problem. That being in that shape contributed to my problems in the old Toyotas. And I would have done it with this. This is a piece of equipment. I needed to start every time, and it's not that expensive to get a new starter. And there's probably not much wrong with this starter. What I've done on the Toyotas was remove that and flip it. Put the fresh side down, or you could dress it and make it smooth, but it's all, I can feel it, it's chowdered and rough. It's from sparking every time it would slam down. As that goes forward, it pushes the Bendix out, the gear, and that gear engages the flywheel, cranks the motor. Now I'm not sweating it. I put this aside. It was a functioning starter. It was just irritating that you'd hear it click out, but it wouldn't make contact, wouldn't turn. So it is very much like I was expecting. When I did that with the Toyotas, I was in high school. I was probably 15 or 16. And of course, money didn't just grow on trees. I barely did make enough to put gas in the car. So when something like that was a problem, you had to figure out how to fix it. Well, first thing you do is take it apart piece by piece, gently, take care of where everything goes. Be expecting all kind of surprises, springs loaded and what have you. But when I took that copper piece off on that Toyota starter and flipped it over, and it worked, that was once again instilled in my mind the lessons my dad taught me. It don't matter what it is, if somebody put it together with enough patience, you should be able to take it apart and figure out if there's a way to fix it. And it might not even be the way they built it the first time. Next issue I've got, this stud's longer than that stud. This is the old starter, of course. This is the new one. We'll investigate in here and see if there's a way to give me a little more length on that stud. See how pretty that one looks. Get this here before we go down in. This is battery power. When that disc flies forward under magnetic forces that are going through this coil, that's the energized wire for the coil. It pulls that forward, engages the gear, holds it there, cranks the engine, and most of them will disengage themselves. However, they will get stuck sometimes. But when you let off the key, it comes back to relax and it's touching the back of this again. That's got a little pressure on it. I'm still looking at, can I get a little length out of this by maybe removing a washer. It's got a lock washer and a flat washer. Everybody knows that's half broke to begin with. What good is that? Probably would have given me a little more room to tighten this up because of the way that base is designed. When I get that down in there, I won't be able to get my wrench on it. So we're going to remove those little knobs right there. Now I've removed those nubs, I'll be able to tighten my bolt up and lose that lock washer that we half broke to begin with. I do not believe that's going anywhere. Working order. It's a brand new part I'm having to do that on. What would you have done? Fought with it? I found my problem. That one's still sticking out just a smidge more, but that's not going to hurt us because we gained the thickness of that split washer. Good and tight. Click. Click. And click. I'm gonna polish him up. I mean, it's gotta help. We've already polished that one up. Look at this other side, why not? Oh, now we got plenty of extra space. The kick bar fits right. Okay. Yeah, that fits good and tight. Okay. And the fun, try to get that thing oriented back in there. And I'll tighten that with a wrench once I get it stationary. Goes something like that. Can you see? I can't see. I don't know if I'm gonna get my hand back in there. Mercy. This is not easy. Can't get to it. Can't get my hand in there. I don't know if I can move you somewhere. You can still see what I'm trying to do. Oh. I can't do it that way. I'll try something different. Now then, let's see what we got. Nope. That's not cooperating. Alright, I've got the bolt in there. I've got the bolt in there. Now then. What I believe was wrong, there wasn't enough sticking out the other side for the threads to catch. Still blind look how I'm doing back here. Yeah, got that one. I lost the socket for now. That bottom one appears to be lined up proper. I really thought this was going to be like quick, simple change the starter. I didn't realize it's going to be this difficult. And both engaged. I gotta get that socket back off. Where's it at? That might be the bigger problem. Get my socket back on. Let me get back here now. Should be good and tight, as intended. Okay, a little piece of plastic hung on there. Not the end of the world, but I don't want it in there. Okay. Now then, my wrench. Okay, that's where we want that. Alrighty. So that's that. Now then. Plan on cleaning them up real pretty. Go get my cleaner. Pretty down in there. All right. We should be ready for a battery. How much battery do we want? Oh my! Well, that's 840 cold cranking amps. It was purchased, well, its born on date's 11 of 20, so it made it through the convid, so it ought to be alright. Alrighty. I like to use the dielectric grease on the connections. Just daub it with your finger. I'm gonna put these on there too. One goes on the ground side, negative. And that one goes on the positive side. A little bit of that on there too. Negative. There we go. Come on down here. Two. This battery's different. It's much more low profile. I don't feel anything it can get into. Now if I had that ground on already, I touched the iron of this side, I'd ground it out. And there would have big sparks and possibly burn a chunk out of my wrench. Who knows, might blow the battery up. Positive first. Especially if you're any way whatsoever inclined that you just might get into something to short it. That one's nice and tight. Oh no, it'll be good and tight. I'm gonna go under that. Such as that, yep. I think that one's a plate. Well, I'm having a hard time getting a grip on it. That's got it. That just kind of ensures it stays over this way. Now then. cranks any quicker. That was instantaneous. It's been dragging for some time. It could have been connections. I'm blaming the starter. I've had the thing since, we'll just say 5, 6, 7, 8. I've had it about 8 years and I've not changed the starter. So I know it's that old. That was a lot better. And we're gonna take the old battery that I took off, put on my little tractor.